This is the most popular album of all time. And it's not Elvis, Michael Jackson, or Olivia Rodrigo. I wish it was, though. It was actually a group you probably forgot about, but have definitely listened to, because they were both the most successful and least talked about industry plants. Remember this?
The Industry Plant album was released in a time when, to hear it, we'd be stuck paying for 50-cent songs.
Not that 50 cents, but songs that literally cost you 50 cents to play. It wasn't economical, but this was how we got our music. Knowing that there was anything more behind the songs I like to download or the videos I bought in the Videos app would have been heartbreaking.
Which is why I hate that term, industry plant. They can happen pretty easily today on TikTok, where you probably didn't know that it's regular practice for marketers to pay influencers to use a song. Like when you're scrolling and, I don't know, stumble upon a dancing TikTok and decide, sure, I'll stay and watch. There's a good chance that that dancer, if they're popular, is actually being paid just to use that song in their videos.
Especially if the song isn't popular on its own.
But also, they happen because authenticity is really easy to fake. Gayle did it with her music a few months ago, convincing people that she was inspired by a comment to make ABCDEFG. I mean, ABCDEFU, a hate letter to someone. Not gonna lie, I haven't really listened to it, but it's because it's hard to get invested when it turns out the whole thing is a lie. The humble comment that inspired it all was actually from a marketing head at Atlantic Records, the company she was already secretly signed to. The song wasn't written by TikTok, it was written by the industry.
But that industry doesn't have to be big music. Apple has more impact than you would probably think.
And to help bring me back to when the album was released, I'll be using only the iPhone 4 for a day.
It's so slow.
Have you ever heard of YouTube? Probably, but it's not gonna be from TikTok. This is a graph of their popularity. They're not really at their peak these days. In fact, here's a graph of the popularity of iTunes. Interesting. When U2 started, Apple was nobody. They built their success from the ground up and are not industry plants. The connections between them as time went on are strange, and they ultimately led to the most played album of all time. But we'll get there. It started with an iPod commercial in 2004, the peak of their popularity. Makes sense, since they were already popular. When their career started to fade, Apple's planting had just begun. You see that artists tab on the bottom of the iTunes app? That guy, that's Bono, the lead singer of U2. Every red iPhone or Apple product you've seen, that's not just Red, that's supporting Project Red, a charity also started by Bono. And there's nothing wrong with supporting charity. I love charity. But there is something wrong with industry planting. But okay, this is all minor. As their popularity continued to fade though, U2 realized that if they wanted anyone to listen to their new music, they had to utilize their connection with Apple.
Sorry, I'm just playing the Pen Pineapple Apple Pen game. I honestly love this game. Game Center? Please. I'm about to be world ranked in this game. Look at that username.
I was a Magic Man in 2014.
Seriously, I did magic shows.
But Apple was a little unsure about their future in the music industry too. It was 2014 and almost nobody used iTunes anymore. The average user only spent $1.90 on iTunes in the first quarter of that year, down from $2.90 the year before and $4.30 the year before that. Why would anyone spend money when Spotify was free? And by the end of the year, there had been a 54.5% increase in streaming usage. That's a lot of percentages, and Apple was taking note. So when U2 approached them, Apple decided they would come together for a mutual agreement that could help both brands. Apple would buy U2's album, or well, rent the album for 5 weeks for millions of dollars. And while they had it, they could give it to all iTunes users for free. That way, there was a reason for Spotify users to use iTunes over the competition. And U2 got their music in front of billions of ears and not have to worry about their dwindling fan base. It sounded like a win-win.
U2's new album is going out for free to 500 million people in the next 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
But there was some sort of misunderstanding along the line. The U2 people didn't realize this, but the album couldn't be deleted. It would just be added under the purchase section, and in the days of 16 gigabyte iPhones, that storage was precious. Usually there was a trash icon if you swiped right, but not on this album. At this point, you might recognize why the Songs of Innocence album cover looks so familiar. You've probably seen this before because you've probably had this downloaded on your phone for years. Forcing music onto everyone's phones is a big deal. I mean, come on, think of all of the independent artists. Why did U2 get their big break? Why does Apple, Tim Cook of all people, get to decide what everyone needs to be listening to? This wasn't exactly industry planting, but it was definitely industry watering.
Which brings us to, well, of course, Charli D'Amelio. Because, come on, time. What good Jack Gordon video doesn't talk about her eventually, right? Guys, I get a lot of comments asking why she comes out so much in these videos, but what do you want me to do? Talk about Ellie Zeiler? I can. See, but half of you don't know who that is, and when I'm trying to make these sweeping generalizations about TikTokers and need someone to point to, you all know who Charli D'Amelio is. I mean, do you want me to start talking about Georgia Peaches? You definitely don't know who that is because that's my dog. You should follow her TikTok. The point is that people like these are what promote music today, not companies like Apple. And more on that in a second.
This had been a wake-up call that Apple had the power to download music onto everyone's phones, and nobody wanted that. 6 days after the album was auto-added, Apple responded to the criticism by adding a U2 removal tool.
The removing process, though, is actually really very simple. And once you're on this website, all you have to do is hit remove album.
People were too mad to even try, but that was really the only way to get rid of it. Now maybe you missed that announcement. It seems like a lot of people did, because the tool stopped working after a year or two. So if you had an Apple ID in 2014, just face it, it's never coming off your phone.
This iPhone 4, by the way, has been horrible. I forgot how slow these things were. Like, look, I open it, wait, and there are my contacts. I tried downloading a few songs from the iTunes store, and this one doesn't do anything. We've come such a long way in speaker technology. It wasn't just weird music Apple forced people to listen to, it also sounded terrible.
Spotify continued to grow immensely in popularity that year, and as iTunes continued to fail, Apple planned to launch Apple Music, which would come out the very next year.
Which leads me back to TikTok. Today, 6 of the Billboard #10 songs have also been used in over 1 million videos on TikTok. That's not 1 million streams or 1 million likes, that's 1 million individual videos, which is why TikTok is the biggest influencer, no pun intended, on music today. And there's something kind of beautiful about that. I know I harp on TikTok a lot, but I love the idea that today, instead of a corporate giant forcing songs onto you, we've come full circle. It's the community, the world that decides what good music is and decides to spread it themselves most of the time.
And that's kind of the underrated upside of TikTok. The only problem is a lot of you don't have access to it because it's banned in India, which is why you probably need to use a VPN to understand anything I'm saying in this video. And that is also why I recommend the sponsor of this video, NordVPN. And while I tell you about how great it is, every time I say the word VPN, I'll listen to another song on the U2 Songs of Innocence album on the iPhone 4. So NordVPN, all right. It protects you against potential hackers, because when you visit some websites, your IP address is shared with them. You never know when the website owner may have malicious intent, so why not just try to block it out? A VPN. Okay, I'll give an album review at the end. They encrypt your data between you and the internet so that instead of a website getting your IP address, they'll get a fake one created by you. So say, for example, you're in Illinois, you can just set your VPN. I like that one. You can set it to make it look like you're literally anywhere, which can be helpful for both security or for accessing TikTok while you're in India. Or if you want to watch Back to the Future on Netflix but you live in the US, you can just switch your VPN to say that you're in Australia, and then you're good. So go to NordVPN. It does not count if it's in the link. NordVPN.com/JackGordon to get a 2-year plan, even on their new budget deal, which throws in Nord's password manager and 1 terabyte of free, safe and secure cloud storage. Nice. Also, I know I just said VPN, but come on. Okay, time for the album review. I'm not a huge fan of it. More of a Kevin MacLeod guy myself. Monkeys Spinning Monkeys is a bomb, but I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. Will not be listening again.
There will always be something pure about iTunes. While Apple kinda messed it up in the end, its popularity in the 2010s was so important to me growing up. Using the iPhone 4 again for a day reminded me how simple technology used to be.
It may not be smart financially, but maybe try buying an album on iTunes one of these days. Pop in the wired headphones, plug it into the headphone jack. I'm not gonna lie, I actually don't have headphones that fit into here anymore, so I'm just using this cord. I don't even know what this cord is, but I'm trying to do a sentimental ending for no reason other than childhood nostalgia. Or don't, because maybe TikTok has its upside.
Don't forget to ring my like button and subscribe to my bell, and as always, see you next time.